I just turned 40 a few months ago. And since I'm 40 years old, it's the first time in my life when I feel now I'm an adult. Until then, I had no idea what life was all about. But now I'm 40, I'm an adult, I know how the world is rolling. To be honest, this is bullshit. When you're an adult, you have to admit that you have no idea about the future. You learned a lot of things. In the last 4 decades, I learned a lot of things about my own life. But the most important things I learned was always when I was working with other people, with the youngest ones, with the oldest ones. And I'm also a father of a little girl, and my daughter, she's 2.5 years old. And when you're a father and you have a kid, and you're 40 years old, in this moment you're thinking very, very hardly about the future because you want to have the best future for your girl. And on the one side, we have an amazing world with the best technologies, with the greatest opportunities. We're connected worldwide. We have these great mobile phones inside of our pocket. Information is nearly free for each one of us. There are a lot of great things in today's world. But on the other side, there's climate change. There's so many problems in front of us, and sometimes we have no idea how to tackle them. And truth to be told, when we take a look at the world leaders these days, we know they do not have the answers we need to take immediate action. And when people ask me, so Ali, what is it what you would tell young people? I always say, guys, you know what? It's not my role to tell young people what to do. The only thing I can talk about are my experiences from the last 20 years of my life. After I started to travel the world to ask people why they do what they do. And what I also do, 50% of my time is I work with kids. I want to help kids in school to get prepared for the future. When I go to schools, when I work with young people, it's always about job orientation, potential development. I work with teachers and I teach them how to work with the kids in a very uncertain way where we have absolutely no idea what the world is all about. So the rest of my job, the other 50%, I'm working with leaders in companies in the field of music and sport. And in this field, I'm also working in the field of personal development. I'm an entrepreneur who tries to be a translator between the world. And more than 10 years ago, I started my own company called What You Do. It's a handbook of life stories where I started to interview people from all around the world based on their story, on their background, everything they learned on their past, becoming the person they are today. The platform itself, I started it approximately 10 years ago when when I was a teacher here in Austria in school. And when I was a teacher, I absolutely had no idea what to teach these kids. And therefore, I started this platform, the Handbook of Life Stories, because I wanted to see what is a good life all about. And at that platform, we interviewed more than 7,000 people from 100 nations from all around the world. And the fun part is when you talk to people, at the end of the day, everyone wants to have a good life. But the question is how to get a good life. Especially in a world where we know that the climate change thing, it's not in front of us, it's not in the future, it's here and now. And it's now our time to take action. And what I learned, and this is the one thing, or these are a few things I would tell to young people about changing this world, is that most of all, stay young. What I mean with that is you don't have to become adults very early. When you're young, then stay young. Use your time. Enjoy your time. Be loud. Go out for parties if it's possible. So if you want to make your parents go crazy, do that. Okay, this is your job now. This is your opportunity to so really staying young in a world of uncertainty and very, very fast changes these days. But also what you also have to do is you have to change, you have to question the status quo. This was always the job of young people, but especially in these days, you have to show adults all of the consequences of their actions of the past. Because when you're an adult, like I am, sometimes you do the things in the way you learned them in the past. And you take actions in your life, but you don't think about the consequences. Because when I grow up, no one was talking about climate change in the way we know it these days. When I grow up more than 20, 30 years ago, the world was all about you have to consume more, higher, better. There was no thing like you have to take care about the planet. Therefore, the actions of the past, they had nothing to do with thinking about climate change. And your job, guys, is to being loud and showing us adults that everything we do, it has a consequence about your future. But the other thing is you also have to learn for yourself that everything you are doing today, it also has a consequence. If you learn to play the game in a smart way, then you can be then you can be both loud and smart in taking the right actions. What I mean with that is quite simple. When you think about change in today's world, we see that the world of economics and business is very important for that, also politics. If you want to change them, of course you have to point your finger on them. But this is not enough. Going on social media saying this is bad, what is happening, is not enough. Going on the streets is important. It's the first and most important step. But if you want to have sustainable change, you have to learn how to play the game of politics and business and economy. Because only then you can understand where you can put your impact on to target the right people. If you understand the rules of the game, only then you are able to play the game, and then you have become really, really good in this game, and then you can change the whole game. So on the one side, we need the people who are on the streets, who are loud, who are fighting the status quo. On the other side, we also need young people who know how to play the game. We need both parts, okay, together, because then you are strong. The second thing is you have to understand what it means being grateful in today's world. I know when it comes to climate change, it's a mess. But on the other side, we have the best technologies around. When you take a look at Europe, the last 70 years or 70 years ago in Europe, there was war. It was not a nice place. There was no security, no safety. There was no food for everyone around. The world we have now, being part of that conference, this is an amazing world. And it was created by the older people, by the adults. The same people who are also responsible for the consequences we have now these days with climate change. Therefore, we have to understand that everything these people have done in the past, it was always with the mindset that they also wanted to have a better future. They always wanted to have a better life for their kids. But sometimes when you have only this mindset that the future has to be better and you're not thinking about your consequences, then you have this paradox and we have these days. Best technology, best world, a lot of possibilities out there. So information is nearly free for everyone. On the other side, planet itself and climate is a mess. Therefore, instead just of being a hater to others, start being grateful for what you have, what we have. Why? Being grateful is not important for other people, it's important for you. Because only if you understand what it means being grateful for being alive on this planet helps you also to not end up in greed. Because this mess we have with climate change, one of the biggest problems is greed in society. And but when you're grateful for what you have, when you understand that everything around us was also based on the work of other people and their good intentions, then you understand that grateful is protecting you from ending up in greed. And this is something we need for the new society of the future. Another thing I want to tell you is that you have to start to believe in the future. You have to understand that the best is yet to come. And this is not just nice wordings from some Instagram postings. We need the energy to create the future we want to live in. I know this sounds very cheesy, but this is important. And when I think about the future, what I want you is to stay young, although you are going to be adults one day. I talk to people out there about the future. And sometimes you are talking to people who are 27 years old, who are young. But when you talk to them about the future, they are like, oh, wow, the best is not yet to come, okay? When you talk to these people, you think they are 400 years old. And on the other side, sometimes you're talking to someone who's 62. When you talk to them, you see that there is energy inside of them because these people believe the best is yet to come. It's still a good thing to invest into the future. And I can tell you one thing. If you as a young person, if you stop to believe that the world is going to be better, based on innovation, what we do, all of the actions we are thinking about, all the conferences we are attending. If you believe that the world is going to be better, then you will have the energy to go the extra mile for yourself, for society, for our planet, for my little daughter. What we see these days is that when you switch on your TV stations, you will see, or you will believe that it's the end of the world. Sometimes we truly believe that we can't recreate the world in a way we want it to be one day. And in these moments, sometimes when I'm sad about the future, I talk to really old people who survived war. When you talk to them, they will tell you that there was always a time in, in our society. There was always a time in the past when people thought this is the end. It's not going to be better. And then they tell me that they also learned that the world is always becoming better every day. Also, when it comes to climate change, we know it doesn't look like that. But it's our responsibility as human beings on this planet to working our asses off to creating a better future for all of us. And maybe it's not the best future, but I truly believe if you're alive on this planet, you have to understand that everything we do, technology, information, being connected to each other, all of these amazing opportunities we have these days, they are just the foundation for what is in front of us. And when you think about mankind, we always grew by the hardest challenges out there. And therefore, talk to older people. Think about the history of mankind, and then you will see whenever there were obstacles in front of us, we were able to tackle them. And sometimes the young people are telling me, this is too hard for me. I have no idea if I can do that. And to be honest, take a look at your own past. On the day you were born, you were a little baby, and you had no idea that there was something out there called the mother language or the first language out there. You had no idea that there was something out there called walking around. And you know what? The two hardest things for our brain, it's the language and learning how to walk. And you mastered all of these things based on your curiosity. You had no idea how hard it would be learning a new language. And I can tell you, no matter if you were born in China or Austria or France or I don't know, in the UK or in Spain, you were able to master the language out of nothing, without pressure, without people telling you, hey, take a look at your baby friends. They're able to walk around. You had no idea that there was such a hard thing in front of us. And also, when you learned how to walk around, when you tried it the first time, you crashed the floor. You made a mistake, but no one told you that it was a mistake. People, they cheered you up. They told you, come on, you can do it. And when you're learning, and when we start to learn how to walk, in the first few weeks and months, we are hitting the floor more than 40 times a day. Okay? This hurts. We're standing up, we're crashing the floor, and we're learning from others. And to be honest, when you are a learner and you're young as a kid, you're never telling your parents, Mom, Dad, I have to talk to you. Today I tried to walk around for more than 40 times. It's not going to work. I'm not that good. I can't challenge that. I can't handle that. On the day you were born, guys, you had no idea that there's something out there called an obstacle. No one told you that there are mistakes around you. Maybe you hit school one day and people told you, don't make a mistake, okay? You're not good enough. Only if you make 0 mistakes, then you're good enough for the future. But in today's world, we have to question the status quo. We have no idea what's in front of us. And like our childhood, when we grow up as a baby, seeing the obstacles as a learning opportunity, this is the thing we have to remember. We have to remember that we're good enough since the day we were born. And everything we have around us, it was based on the actions of other people. And therefore, because we are in this mess when it comes to climate change, based on the decisions of others, we are able as human mankind to create new decisions for the future. But the most important thing is never stop doing it. Learn how to play the game and then break the rules. Be grateful, otherwise you will end up in greed. And stay young, okay? Do what you can do best. Put your energy into the future of the world. For yourself, for society, and for my little daughter. Thank Thank you very much.